Three, two, one. Yo, 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 welcome in. How's it going? How are you? Much love. Travis here bringing you, T-Wiz, T-Woo bringing you a match of the Green-Red Marvel deck, which is hot, hot fire. All the Rage versus Blue-White Flash. So, there is, this is an interesting matchup that is close, it's winnable. I think it's solid. I think it's very skill based. It is very draw based as well. And in general, the green red Marvel deck really strong in standard, matches up great versus black green, matches up solidly versus the aggro decks, matches up well against blue white. I just think the deck is the nuts. There's a lot of guys in the mastermind who've been posting their matches versus blue white, so I'm gonna share mine today. Definitely you're going to see some misplays in this. And my version, I'm playing a lot of grapples. I like that card because it gets delirium, and I have a different sideboard plan, which we'll talk about. So, opponent leads with Port Town. I go Game Trail. I decide not to traverse here, and I still think having traverse is way better than having a mountain, which most people play here. We could traverse turn 1, but I'd rather grapple turn 2. Turn 3 we'll most likely be able to traverse into grapple if we miss our land, and delaying it gives us more options. Spawn is Copter. Worth noting that it's hard. Copter on the play is always going to be tough, but they're going to be on the play at half the time, and they're going to have Copter on turn 2 half the time. About 1/4 of the time they'll have Copter in the play. Those games are always harder. So I decided to grapple now while we can. The opponent's tapped out. We find a land. Opponent misses their third land, which it's a stroke of luck as well. And we draw another land. So we were good for delaying the traverse. And this is much better than mountains. So working out. I decided, again, I'm going to grapple right now. I think I should have waited and grappled during their turn with the hope that they would spell queller it. So we could untap and smash a Marvel or a Chandra. So here's where I make a big fuck up. And this to me is not really a problem. Like making mistakes. I know some people are like, mistake, I'm done watching. Well, it's like mistakes are how we learn. I want to make as many mistakes as possible before the Pro Tour, right? Before the Grand Prix. This is practice. Every time I fuck up, I learn something. So the mistake here is not understanding that Thalia makes non-basics enter the battlefield tapped. I actually haven't played against this card much. So basically, we could throw down a forest, Chandra burn out Thalia, and be in a nice position, but I didn't get that I couldn't play Game Trail. So I was like, what? Is this a glitch? What's going on? I don't get it. And Puzzle Knot. I didn't traverse there because we don't yet have a Delirium. We don't have a sorcery. Traverse doesn't see itself, so we've got to wait a turn. Taking a hit of 6, yeah, so much more damage than we would be taking. And I still don't understand Thalia. I play the Puzzle Knot and I go for an Aether Hub, but I'm like, wait. So the Forest would have cracked the Puzzle Knot and given us Delirium and untap Ishkanah, and this game's very winnable from here because the opponent's very unlikely to have a counter for this. So I think this game should be a win if I understand how Thalia works. It took me 2 times, and I had to watch. I was recording, watch the replay. Like, what happened? Am I glitched? Am I stupid? I don't understand what happened. Okay, Thalia. So we learn. And maybe the opponent's decking stone to clear the spiders, but we would be able to untap with Delirium here and be in a decent shape, have a bunch more life because Thalia doesn't exist. But as it is, we can untap, and I decided to concede. Although I could have traversed and then played Ishkanah and not been dead. So that's just a very, very poorly played game in general by me. And that's okay because we're learning the matchup, and I want to encourage you to keep going and put yourself out there even if you don't do it perfect. And you can see that I'm a pro player and I still make mistakes, especially in learning. If this stuff happened in a tournament, I'd be upset. So let's talk about sideboarding a little bit. This isn't my exact build. I like Dynavolt Tower. I've been testing it. So some people play Natural Slate and Tears of Valakut. I prefer Galvanic Bombardment because it does the same sort of thing, but I like these a lot more versus white-red vehicles, so I find it to be a more versatile slot. So I'm bringing in the bombardments, I'm cutting grapples, tormenting voice. I'm bringing in tireless tracker, I'm cutting the puzzle knot. Puzzle knot does nothing without marvel, basically, and so we don't want it. So I see blue white's good at tempo deck, so we just want to have better tempo. So I cut the cards that don't affect the board for cards that do. This hand is definitely a keeper. Turn 1, attune, always attune before traverse. Delay your traversing. And servant. Opponent has copter. And we got lucky here with drawing the vessel, which is going to give us auto delirium, pretty much. Sorcery, instant, enchantment land. So we do have a... by the way, I traversed here for Emrakul. I think that was wrong. I think I should have not traversed at all and waited to see if we were going to want a second Ishkanah or not. But we didn't need a second Ishkanah because we have this one. And even if the opponent... Gisela doesn't seem particularly good against us. I don't know what's up with that. Draw another traverse. Keep in mind, most people are playing 2 mountains here. We've drawn 2 extra Emrakuls this game, right? Or tireless tracker. Right? I said, let's go get a tireless tracker and start cluing it up. Opponent goes for a Gideon and pluses, which indicates they want a minus, because if they can get Gisela plus, they can get it through Ishkanah. So end of turn, crack a clue, another clue, tireless tracker. I'm going to play tracker and play a land so that we're going to have 2 clues, and I'm going to send a big swing at Gideon. The way I see this game, we're going to win on board. I just want to keep Gideon down, forget the life totals. We have a lot of life. So the opponent goes and decides, all right, throw Gisela in front of the way. And we're going to spend our money cluing it up, and their Gideon is knocked down. So that's pretty good for us. They decide to attack. I don't really know what that accomplishes. Block, but the board is just so far out of their favor. There's not really a way they can win unless they sideboard it and fumigate or something like that. So forget they have 28 life. I don't care. I just want to get rid of Gideon. Attack with everybody. They go for a triple block. I decide I want to Galvanic Bombardment. Save both Harness Lightnings, one for the Gisela and one for their Spell Queller. No Spell Queller is a Stasis Snare. And they Stasis Snare the other one and lose their team. That seemed like very poor, because at this point, like, look at the board. It's totally, totally lopsided. And they have nothing, so... Note we haven't drawn Marvel this match. And both those games were winnable. Let's go... I'm not on a heater. Check my rating, whatever. Play with Bruce. Game 3. So we could have won both those games. Would you keep this hand or not? I like this hand. Forest, Attune, gets us 2 lands. We draw mana, it's great. I could see mulliganing this one, but I decided I would keep. I'm fine with this hand. We draw a Vessel, throw it down. Opponent doesn't have Copter. Very slow hand over there, so this is going to give us plenty of time. Go ahead and Vessel and find an Aether Hub. I think I might have won this game if I had just Galvanic Bombardmented right now. We end up taking way too much damage from this Thraben Inspector. Spoiler alert. I decided to just jam Marvel here. I would like to wait, but if we're waiting, they're just doing more damage to us. And they're getting towards Avacyn. They don't have the Spell Core, they don't have a counter for it, so we have Marvel in play. Attune. And... perhaps I fucked up by going Tireless Tracker here and playing a land. My thinking is we'll have 6 next turn. We could have held up Harness Lightning to kill an Avacyn, but I really want to be able to spin our Marvel. So they go for an Avacyn. I don't have the mana to deal with it. And they crush in for 6. What do you block here? I decided to take it, go to 8. Could block Tracker, but Avacyn flips. And we could Harness Lightning or play Ishkanah, but if that gets countered, then we're just going to die next turn. I decided not to risk that. Let's go to 8 life. And they do nothing. We want to get... I decided to crack the clue because we're going to... I decided to crack the clue because I want to dig for a land here. And perhaps I should have played a Servant. And we would have gotten... Yeah, I just didn't play this very well in retrospect. I cracked the clue. I should have played the Servant because that would give us one spare energy to make it easier to harness lightning this Archangel, so I don't have to G-bomb plus harness lightning, and we'll have more mana next turn. So I fucked that up. Emrakul, take your turn. They have Stasis Snare for it. Whatever. Decide not to attack with Tracker because I want to eat one of their Inspectors. So we're going to eat the Inspector, and then I'm going to Harness Lightning plus Galvanic Bombardment to kill the Avacyn. And at this point, it looks pretty good for us. They have Linvala and Throbbing Inspector in 3 lands. I don't know why this is in their deck. It doesn't seem great. So they take their extra turn. I choose not to Throbbing crack Clue because I don't want to save the mana. Although maybe I should have just for more information. Probably should have because they have plenty of information. I think I should have played and cracked Throbbing Inspector for more info and a chance at top decking something that would have wrecked them. So definitely not the best played match, but you can see how there's a million ways to play this. Definitely going to go for Ishkana here. So board's pretty stable. They have a Copter. They cracked their Clue. So they've drawn a Copter. I mean, you're going to see that this... We get slightly unlucky for how this ends, but obviously I could have played it better. So, what are the options here? I decide to Vessel, like really just want to look for a land. There's a land, found a land. And then I decide to play a Servant to get to Emrakul next turn. Yeah, I just punted this shit out of this. Very, very winnable games. But, I mean, they drawn the Copter and then they drawn a Clue. So it turns out they drew Declaration in Stone, and then they Copter, and they draw Stasis Snare. So definitely a bit unlucky here. I mean, they could have gotten lucky and had just action on turn 2 with Copter. But 3 out of their 4 draws here were Copter into Deck and Stone into Stasis Snare to kill us exactly. I could have Galvanic Bombardmented ages ago. I could have Harness Lightning to save energy, and we would have been able to Marvel this turn potentially. I could have just not played Servant and had Harness Lightning up to blast out that Linvala, and we would have gone to 5 and been able to untap, and maybe Emrakul. Probably we would have been a little bit on the ropes. So, I mean, what you can see from that is it's not like an easy matchup. It's not necessarily a tough matchup. It's a complex matchup that comes down to pilot skill. I didn't have it this match. I'm working on it, but if you play Marvel, I would jam this matchup a lot because you get better and you play better. So we'll talk a little bit about the sideboarding. So yeah, again, basically, I think the sideboarding plan is quite good. Basically, blue-white is a tempo deck that wants to kill you quickly. The longer the game, the more it favors us. You could see our hand was full of gas. If the game had gone one more turn, there would have been Emrakul. If it went another turn, there would have been Harness Lightning. There would have been Marvel Flips, right? So we want to not get tempoed out and die. So we want to have all our cards affect the board, right? So we want to have bombardments over Puzzle Knot, because bombardment can kill Thraben Inspector, it can kill Copter, it can kill Spell Queller. I realize the first one isn't amazing, but it's versatile. It's going to hit a lot of things. And when we put it with the vessels, we have a good chance of seeing multiples, so it gets better. And then Tracker does more than Grapple and Tormenting Voice, so this is how I like sideboarding. Again, you could, instead of Bombardment, sideboard a 2 Slates and 2 Tears of Valakut, but those cards are narrower. I want to board in Galvanic Bombardments versus Red-White Vehicles. I like it more than Kozilek's Return as a 2 of, so this gives us more versatility, but you could do it the other way. Anyways, that's the matchup. It is, again, I wish I had played better and won, but whatever. I encourage you to record yourselves and share and so on. So much love, everybody. Thanks for watching, and happy brewing. And I'll see you tomorrow.